the 380 Shield EZ. Let's check it out. The fastest growing segment of the firearms community is women. Many of them are buying guns for the first time. Many husbands are out looking for a gun that their wife can enjoy shooting. You know, one of the problems with a woman buying a gun a lot of times because of their inexperience is they want something with fairly light recoil. And a lot of them even choose .22, which is not really a proper self-defense caliber. And so Smith & Wesson has designed their 380 Shield EZ. The controls on this firearm are super easy to manipulate, and that's a very important part of making someone feel very comfortable and confident while carrying a sidearm. But not only females, but also the elderly. A few years ago, my mother was looking for a concealed carry, and I took her to a gun shop, and she had a real hard time racking slides. She even had a hard time with a little Smith & Wesson 38 revolver, being able to pull that double action trigger. And so we ended up getting one of the SIG P238s, which is a very easy slide to manipulate. One of the problems with that handgun is a very small, compact firearm. And so when you're shooting it, even in 380, it does have a little more recoil, but she really enjoys it. But I think one of the things that Smith & Wesson was trying to hit here was to have something that was full size, is in the grip, yet compact and slim, but that slide, it is so easy to manipulate. And so that's a real bonus for this handgun. Plus the 380, the recoil on it is very mild. This handgun is not for your seasoned shooter, male or female. This is something that would definitely fit a role of someone who wants to have something for self-defense, but is a little bit afraid of your standard firearm, and 9mm may be just a little bit too much. And so guys, one of the big things about this pistol, and one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it to you, was because I wanted you to consider this for your wife, your girlfriend, maybe your grandmother, maybe your dad, if he's older and he just has a little bit of trouble being able to manipulate a standard firearm. First thing we're going to do is make sure the gun is unloaded. I'm going to drop the magazine and we'll check the chamber, and the gun is empty. It is an 8-round magazine. It does come with 2. They're stainless steel, orange follower, and of course they're clearly marked. One of the things about this magazine too is it has these small little places to be able to load this easily. And one of the big pluses with this, and I found out this at the range, is you can take it and use both hands with it on the table and just bring it down. And it is a very easy follower to bring down. One of the things about this pistol, even though it's called the Shield, is more similar to the .22 compact. And here I have a .22 compact, and you can see, I mean, they are very similar. One of the big things that's different with the Shield 380 is that it is a hammer-fired pistol. This is not a striker-fired pistol, and we'll look at that when we disassemble it. And also, of course, it's very noticeable with this grip, which the .22 doesn't have. Now, these do have the external safeties, and even this .22 does. But you can get it as an option without the safeties. One of the things, though, that I will definitely recommend is to go without the safety, unless someone that gets this firearm really wants this safety because it gives them more peace of mind. One of the problems, and I think really because of larger hands, if you shoot it in certain ways, you'll hit the safety. I found when I was shooting it one-handed, I ended up disengaging the safety. Also, when I was actually doing the accuracy test, one time I did engage the safety, and I just had to make sure that I put my thumb over the safety. And so I guess, again, that has to do with a little bit larger hands. I think with smaller hands, you're just not going to have that problem. And because it is ambidextrous, I like to ride my firearm way up high, and so when the gun recoils, it tends to, if you're not careful, to pop it. Now, it's funny because during all the rapid shooting and all the shooting most of the day, I didn't have any problems whatsoever engaging this safety. It was actually when I got behind the barrels and I was in a kneeling position and I was shooting offhand is when I started having some issues. But guys, one thing about any kind of stressful situation is if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. So that's just something to keep in mind. And I also want to bring out the shield. And you can see that the narrow grip on the EZ is, again, more like the 22. It's longer, you have a little more grip than your standard shield. Now, this is my wife's concealed carry. She loves this gun. One of the things, though, she does like about the EZ is has these wings on the back of the slide. And that has become popular with a number of guns. The VP9, HK VP9 has that. It makes it just easier, and it gives you some leverage to be able to pull that back a lot easier. Now, one of the things you're going to notice is how easy the slide manipulates. I mean, it is just simple. I mean, again, I can take my finger and actually manipulate the slide just with my index finger. With the shield, it has a lot more pull. In fact, there is no way I can do it, but I've really got to put a lot of force. And I definitely wouldn't recommend loading a live round into this firearm. And as you see, these guns have been safety checked. I'll give you a better look at the cocking ears on the back of the slide. It matches in with the standard serrations, and it just gives you a little bit of a raised point, but that is not going to interfere with anything, and I think that's a great addition. I really like that because it allows you just to be able to pull that back very easily. And then even here with these front serrations, they're abbreviated, but very easy to pull back. The difference with the regular shield, it's a lot thicker in this area. You've got it smaller this way for smaller hands, makes it really nice. And another advantage with the 380 EZ is it does have an accessory rail, which the shield does not. The 22 Compact does have an accessory rail, but that's more for fun. And guys, you'll be surprised how many ladies would choose this little 22 Compact over the shield. And really, a 380 is a much better choice. Now again, this is marketed for female shooters or those with weak hand strength. And so a lot of guys, I've heard them, I put this picture on Instagram and guys were complaining about the grip safety and a lot of other things about how easy it is. But this is not designed for guys that shoot. This is designed for people, again, that need something that has low recoil and is easy to manipulate. One of the things about this grip safety is that because this is hammer fired, and if it's dropped, there's more of a chance of this gun firing, when you drop it. With the grip safety, that eliminates that. So this is a very important feature for this handgun. Now the gun is in the cock position. If you do not engage your grip safety, it comes onto a dead trigger. If the safety is up, it's a dead trigger. So sometimes, it's not like it locks with the safety up. So at first, I considered there was something going on with the firearm. But once it's engaged, again, unless you have the grip safety pulled, and really guys, it is a very low pressure that activates this. So I don't really have to have a solid grip on here and I can still fire the pistol. So just any activation of the grip safety is going to allow you to fire. Now it's a polymer frame with a black nitron slide finish on here. It's very smooth. One thing that I do like about the frame is that this has a light texturing. Some of the new 2.0s are a little more aggressive in the texturing, and this is much more comfortable, but yet it gives a nice grip to it. Here a little closer, you can see that it definitely has a good gripability to it. There's a lot of texturing, but I know on my 2.0 compact 9mm, it is fairly aggressive. This would be much more comfortable. Magazine release is right here, and it ejects the magazine, so that makes it nice, gets it out of the way. This can be switched to the other side. Of course, you know, you do have ambidextrous safeties here if that's what you choose. The slide stop has been extended somewhat, so it's going to give you a little more power to be able to hit that slide stop. Serrations on the front and the rear, like a lot of the new shields. Then of course, you've got this scalloped area that brings it in really close, and it gives it a good sleek look to it. Now you'll notice the trigger is not one of the pivot triggers, but that has everything to do with the hammer fire, and again we'll take a look at that. The sights are 3-dot, they're very easy to see, and it just gives it a really good sight picture. They are all steel as well. Now let's check the trigger pull. I'm going to drop my magazine, make sure that the gun is unloaded. Thank goodness this gun does not have a magazine disconnect. As we pull the trigger, just a very short take up, and then a really nice snap, and that has a lot to do with the hammer. And there we have reset. It is tactile and audible, but it's not very aggressive. I mean, it's a very slight take up, but man, that trigger is nice. Let's check the trigger pull weight. I'm gonna have to hold the grip safety. 4 pounds 6.5 ounces. 4 pounds 5.1 ounces, so under 4.5 pounds. Again, that's going to give it an easy pull of the trigger. Now here at the top is a loaded chamber indicator. It will raise up when there's a shell in the chamber, and it's visible and it's tactile. You can touch it and feel it. Unfortunately, I don't have any 380 dummy rounds to show it, and you know, or even some brass that I'd like to kind of show that, but you know, I can't. And so, but anyway, it's there just for you to know. I want to thank Freedom Munitions for supplying the 380. Get a 5% discount using SUCH00 on the Freedom Munitions website. Now, as far as the range goes, it is a very easy gun to manipulate. One of the things about the grip safety is that if you grip the gun, it disengages the safety. There's no problem there. The grip safety is really, again, in case you drop the pistol. And especially those who are unfamiliar with firearms, that could be something that could happen. So I think this really was a smart move. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of grip safeties, except on my 1911s. And you know, Springfield Armory's been doing it for years. You know, it's just there. It's not really a problem. Considering who's going to be buying this handgun, I think that was actually a smart move on Smith & Wesson. With the small little wings on the back of the slide, that just adds to the ease of being able to rack this slide. It makes it so easy. Of course, the recoil was about nil, and other than hitting that safety, we had no malfunctions as far as reliability goes. Now, one thing about the accuracy on this handgun, I was shooting a little bit to the left, and the groups were not all that great. And I actually shot 2 groups, and they were both a little bit to the left, and they were a little bit wide. I was shooting at about 10 yards. So I was kind of surprised that the accuracy wasn't a little better, but it's definitely acceptable accuracy for a handgun like this. In fact, on my steel targets, all the rounds were just to the left. I mean, just barely. So I think that we need to adjust that sight a little bit and knock it over. But the sights are easy to see, and the gun functions, manipulates the grip, that texture. It's not super aggressive, and I think with females, you know, a little bit softer hands with a lot of females, and with the elderly, I think it's going to be nice to have a nice texture, but not too aggressive. Now the barrel is 3.65 inches. It's just about 7 inches in total length and 5 inches this direction, and it is super thin. In fact, if you get it without the safeties, it's really going to bring this down to a nice thin line. The grip angle is an 18-degree grip angle, which is important. It's more like the 1911. It gives more of a natural grip angle. Weight on the 380 Shield EZ, 1 pound 2.4 ounces. Weight on the standard Shield 9mm, 1 pound 4.4 ounces, so it weighs a couple of ounces more. Now let's disassemble the firearm. I've already got the magazine out, double check to make sure the gun is unloaded. First thing I'm going to do is to pull back your slide and engage your slide stop. Bring your lever down, release your slide stop, and the slide comes right off. You don't have to pull the trigger to disassemble the firearm. Pull out our recoil spring and guide rod. It is a polymer guide rod. And then we have our barrel. Now, one of the things about 380 is typically it's a fixed barrel design, like the Walther PPK. It's attached to the frame. It gives really good accuracy with those kind of barrels, and it's a blowback action. With this is a modified Browning design, and it's a very different type lug right here at the bottom. But this actually is the tilting design, and it will actually help to soften the recoil. With a fixed barrel, it's just fixed, it's solid, you fire. With the tilt design, it takes some of the recoil out as the barrel moves. So that's another great feature for the pistol. Looking on the inside of the slide, I mean, it is very well done, which is typical for Smith & Wesson. But here is the difference, and you can see right here we have a hammer, and that is a departure from your standard polymer striker fire pistol. Now for reassembly, we're going to drop in our barrel, recoil spring and guide rod. You'll need to make sure that the front tip is lined up with this hole to be able to get it onto your barrel. It's a little bit of a trick, but once you get it through there, it slides right in. And then just bring it back over your frame. Engage your slide stop, hit your lever, and you're good to go. The MSRP on the 380 Shield EZ is $399. Definitely you'll be able to find it much cheaper, you know, from your local gun shops, and that's usually street price usually runs it down quite a bit. As far as pros and cons go, again, this is designed for female shooters or for those with weak hand strength. And of course, when I say that, guys, there's a lot of female shooters that love 9mm, even 40, 45. I mean, my wife carries the 9mm Shield, but she also has a Glock 40 as her nightstand gun. So, you know, she is not timid, but it does make it much easier for her to rack the slide. And especially with the 40, it makes it a little more difficult. So it's a easy slide. You've got a low recoil with the 380 caliber, and you've got a grip safety in case the gun drops. You have options with the safety, of course reversible magazine release, and the trigger is very crisp. So there's a lot of really nice features, and it does incorporate all the 2.0 features that are now available with the Smith & Wesson. As far as cons go, I would say that one of the problems with having the external safety is that it can inadvertently get knocked. And again, you can fix that by going with a standard without the safeties. But even if you have the safety, I think with smaller hands, you're not going to have as many issues with that. Now I want to thank Smith & Wesson for sending the 380 Shield EZ for the test and evaluation, and being able to bring you guys, especially like if your mother, your girlfriend, you know, someone with weak hand strength, even your grandfather, if he's having a hard time being able to rack a slide. I mean, I think this is a perfect candidate for that pistol. And one of the big things about this, guys, is a lot of times men go out and they just choose a firearm for their wives or their girlfriends, and it's a very difficult gun to be able to manipulate. And I think that this is going to be a great option for those times. And you may be a big, burly, 250-pound guy, and you just want something that's easy to manipulate. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. I need to man up after shooting the EZ. Easy gun to manipulate. The controls are super nice. That dog will not shut up. Oh, I hate that dog. The Smith & Wesson EZ, easy like Sunday morning.